my name is Feroz Testimony. I've been in the Hope Center for 2.5 years. I currently work at the bank, TD Bank, in risk management.
When I was in Woolner, this neighborhood that we're heading to, my mom sent me to a Bible study class. So there was this woman, Nazarene or Nazareth as I knew her as, who came around and asked, knocking at each door of maybe families she knew or families she knew had kids. So she came to our door, 504 Woolner, and she asked my mom if she would send anyone to Bible study. So she was holding it on the 15th floor. So my mom looked around, probably saw me and says, yeah, no, take this one. So that's essentially when I started to go in Bible study. I think it was 7 or 8 years, no, probably 8 or 9 years old at the time. And at that time, I remember, learning about Jesus and going through the New and the Old Testament, and eventually attending the prayer palace. So I think as a child, I had accepted Christ. Now, I re-accepted not too long ago, so back in my 20s. I re-accepted because the life in between that was quite different. It wasn't essentially walking in Christ's path or in the way of Christ, because at the same time, going back to my childhood, that I was going to Bible studies, my mom pulled me out of that and sent me to the Quranic classes. So I was learning to read Arabic, and I was reading the Quran in Arabic. And at no time did I actually understand what I was reading, but I was reading it. And then we started to go to the mosque. And so here I was in the mosque, and I'm watching all of this thing. And the prayers in the mosque are very, very standard, and I would almost refer to them as ritualistic. I mean, they carried a certain motion, and it was a repeating of some things. Again, most things that most Muslims don't know the meaning of because they don't know the translation. And I remember praying and following these motions, and I remember just talking to God, and that was the God of the Bible, and saying, I don't really understand what's going on here, but I'm going to just pray. So I just kept praying. I'm like, God, purify my heart, make it as white as snow. So all of these childhood prayers, I just kept repeating those instead as I went through these emotions. And here I was performing, I guess, the acts, but not really believing in the acts because I was doing my own thing. So that was childhood. So it was interesting growing up in a Muslim family and yet having this maybe not really even a secret, but I think it would be in my parents' eyes kind of a secret because I don't think they realized how that experience as a child profoundly changed my life and all the little things along the way that has brought me to where I am right now. So this is where I grew up. This is called Jane and Woolner. It's probably not as well known as most neighborhoods are now, so as in the troublesome neighborhoods as maybe Jane and Finch and the rest, but I hear that it has a history now of violence and so on. So, needless to say that it is a neighborhood that's made up of a lot of immigrant families. So along the left here are all the buildings. So you're going from, I think, 230 Woolner to 220, 210, and then you get into 200 Woolner, which is where I grew up. So it's changed a bit, but we're gonna drive through it. So this is this is different coming back here. So this is Bible studies, Nazareth. I mean, dear woman. I look back and I still have the first Bible I've ever been given, and it was from her, signed by her. And I don't know if she knows that. Certainly I would be talking about her now. And I think sometimes we and even I do it. You wonder the actions, the words, whatever it is that you do for God, whether or not there's benefits to it. So here I am in my 30s talking about a woman, probably doesn't even know I'm talking about her. So, yeah, it just almost gives you a new, renewed strength where seeds are planted and you never know how they'll grow. So I'm a living testimony. Wow. I think certainly God works in his own magical way, and everyone's got a story. And I think everyone's story has a special meaning to them. But I think the stories have all the same significance. It's how God has come and met everyone at their need. But most importantly, how God has, truly, truly showed to me how much he loves me. And I think, I certainly try not to take it for granted, but more times than not, I think it's something I don't remember daily. And I think it's almost a very important thing that, I try to say to people who are new believers is you just gotta remember those moments where God has touched you, because things are gonna change, and the Christian life is not necessarily an easy life. It's not where you sign up for things to be all glorious, because sometimes it just isn't. But remember those moments where God has come and met you in your needs, your special needs. That's a love that I think you don't experience very often, if at all, and it's God's agape love for his people. So now I'm just, God's long time chosen me. More and more now, it's just, how do I keep choosing God? And that's my journey.